Welcome to PL Together Lounge Talks. I'm Adam Geller, founder and CEO of Edthena. Today, we are talking with Elena Aguilar. She is an instructional coach and the author of multiple books about instructional coaching, as well as creating a culture and an environment in schools that helps students and teachers be successful. Elena, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So, we've been talking a lot about the role of the coaches and the challenge of coaching in this moment, and even the teachers, kind of finding their way. One of the phrases that I've seen you use is using the energy where it counts, because everybody feels like the whole house is on fire, and how am I going to put all this fire out? You got to have a plan. You got to have some triage. So, before you help me figure out what counts, from your professional stance, kind of absent anyone's particulars, like, what's your general guidance on what counts right now, given the current situation and scenario?
Well, that phrase is really in reference to the spheres of influence and control, and this idea that there's a lot that we can't control, and yet we often spend a lot of energy complaining about those things or worrying about them, or there's a difference between planning for uncertainty and things that might happen and worrying and sort of or complaining. Or so what we can influence and control really is where we should be spending our energy, because then we'll build our resilience. We won't be depleted. We'll find more meaning and satisfaction. I think that we're in there's another opportunity and potential right now for people to get clearer about their purpose in life and what gives them joy and what helps them thrive and where they want to be spending their time and energy. I am surprised how many people I am talking to in my professional circles and personal circles who are saying things like, wow, now that I've been away from my job for 6 weeks, I don't know if I ever want to go back. Or I know that this is not the right time to be looking for another job, and yet I cannot keep doing that work anymore. Or people who are realizing, like my brother-in-law lives in New York City, and he's been away for 6 weeks, and he's saying, I don't know if I can ever go back. I'm working remotely now. I don't want to live in a big city anymore. It's just enough already. And so I think a lot of people are really rethinking whether it's changes they want to make in the near future or long term, 2 or 3, 4 years out, but really thinking about their passions, their commitments. And part of that, I think, is what happens when we are in the proximity that we're in right now to death. It makes you think about, how do I want to live my life? Where do I want to be spending energy? And so I think there's this potential for people to make changes and perhaps to live in a way that brings them more meaning, more fulfillment, more joy, more happiness. I think that's where we need to spend energy.
In some ways, I hear you saying, like, to use that kind of opportunity for self-focus to either refuel your application of yourself to whatever has you passionate and kind of excited, and or to recognize that it might be an opportunity. We're both using that word as like a smoothing over word, but maybe it is the pause that you needed to kind of have that reflection. It's the forced reflection that we all are under. Taking us back to the idea of the schools, and I guess talk to the school leaders out there. Obviously, you work with system leaders as well, but I know that we talked about the idea of like telling story and celebrating success, but a lot of that is about celebrating together. And we are physically apart, but can be together in other ways. So I'm curious how you've been helping people problem solve around that idea of celebrating together, even when they're not physically together?
I think, okay, I'm saying the same thing over and over. This is good. I think there's potential possibility. It's like, if you think about what happens, let's say at the end of the year, and there's a big staff meeting, and people are going to share their celebrations or their appreciations, okay? And then you have, let's say, 30 or 40 staff members, and everybody wants to share something, or a lot of people want to share something. And after 20 or 30 minutes, you're like exhausted and everybody keeps talking. Okay, maybe not everybody feels this way, but particularly introverts will start getting more exhausted. I'm really interested in our tendencies towards introversion or extroversion, how that affects our energy levels. I think, like, so if we take that end of the year celebration, and rather than all being in one room celebrating, like, what are our bright spots from this year, what are our appreciations for each other, if everybody records their own video, they get 3 to 5 minutes, and then on Monday it's these 10 people's opportunity to put their videos out, and we watch them and we make comments on them and we appreciate them, and you can watch them at whatever rate and pace works for you. And then Tuesday we get 10 more videos, right? We can actually listen to each other better. We can have more energy to listen to each other. There's more of an opportunity for engagement. There's so many different virtual platforms and structures to talk to each other and to share. My team is all over the US, and so we have always operated in a virtual world, and we use things like Slack and Loom and other platforms to communicate, to share. And we only see each other in person about once a year, and yet I feel very connected to my team, and I think they feel very connected to each other. And so there are a lot of ways that we can maintain what we think about as sort of the connective points and the rituals and celebrations that we would have in person. It's just, I know it's a lot to make these shifts right now, and there's a lot that many of us miss about being able to be in person with people. But I think a lot of that is more about wishing for the relief of the anxiety and the uncertainty than it is about the discomfort with the new structures and platform. And people are creative and are innovative. And I think that in any group of people and any staff, there's people who are going to be more excited and inclined to think about, how do we do a staff meeting and include a pet parade, or have people bring, sit down and have their tea together, or happy hour, or whatever it is. Like, especially like using platforms like Zoom, where you can use breakout rooms and you can have the chat feature. There is Zoom fatigue, and there are things that I don't like about being on a video platform as much as I am. And there's great possibility. I think there's perhaps more potential or different potential for equitable access and communication. I think there's opportunities for equity that we haven't had when we're all in a room together. So I think it's going to take some time for us to try things out and see what works and what doesn't, and make modifications.
Yeah, I had an educator point out to me that, we should not forget that many educators are themselves parents, or have family situations that are pulling them in all kinds of different directions, just like the parents that we're hearing about that are feeling pulled in so many different directions to support students that are at home. And wow, once you, kind of allow the educators that extra bit of flexibility and freedom in the way that you're having them connect, it might play to some of the equity issues, right? So in the sense that, like, if you're demanding everybody be there at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, well, what if lunchtime didn't go well and there's a tantrum underway? And, like, you're not going to be able to be authentically present for your colleagues. Whereas maybe if you could time shift that a little bit from home, it's going to end up being better for you, which then makes it you more able to have that authentic connection with your colleague in this new and different way. Okay, so before we wrap it up, Elena, I don't remember if I prepped you that we were going to have an extra credit question. So This might be a total surprise. I'm realizing I may not have told you that there's going to be extra credit as part of this. So the extra credit question is, what's something personally that you've adopted or changed or whatever it is since we've started sheltering in place and changing our routines that you value or you appreciate?
Oh, something I have been doing since I've been sheltering in place. Something different, something new. Well, this is just very recent. I have so many. I mean, I'm so used to being in a virtual environment and working from home a lot, so it's not such a huge change for me. Um, but the last week or so, I've been listening to a lot more music, which is a really good mood booster. And because I live with other people, it seems to be part of what we do now. We all have our own earbuds in and we're all like walking around listening to our own podcasts or our own music. But I've been listening to a lot of music and singing really loud, which my 16-year-old does not approve of. But actually singing is really good. Like the deep breathing and sort of exercising of your lungs in that way is really a good practice. And I've just been really enjoying music. It's not really that new for me, but like the last week I was like, oh yeah, I listen to so many podcasts and audiobooks, and I was like, I need some music. I was cooking a big meal. I was like, I need some music. So it's been really good.
More breathing through more singing through more music. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yes. And then I will admit, I also shared I was preparing for a workshop that I was doing and shared my singing on Instagram, just in case the coaching doesn't work out. I think I have a future there. So we'll see. I shared it there. Got some really good feedback.
So for those watching and listening, tell them where they're going to go on Instagram and check out your singing. And more importantly, tell them where they're going to go on the internet generally to find out more about all the awesome resources you and your team are putting out to help everybody through this time.
Okay, so my website is brightmorningteam.com, and you can find links to our social media places there. I have a Instagram account that is Elena_Aguilar_writer. You can find the link to that on the website, but that's the one. We have a Bright Morning Instagram account and my Elena Aguilar writer account, and that's where I posted. I mean, it's silly, and I don't have like, I'm being facetious about my voice, but what I was really wanting to do was like, hey, you guys, like, be ridiculous, don't, be unpolished. You can show. It was like early in the morning. I had not brushed my hair. I was wearing my goofy screen glasses. It's like, come on, there's an opportunity for us to let down our hair or whatever is the metaphor and just be human and connect with each other. So yeah, but I did have a few people send me messages directly to me, text messages and stuff like, are you okay? I saw you singing really loud.
Well,
Are you okay?
So Elena is still okay, and you can find out more about her and her team at brightmorningteam.com. Elena, thank you so much for joining us and sharing some of your thoughts for all the educators out there. Yeah, thanks for being part of PL Together.
You're welcome.